What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. They recently did put out their Q3 production and delivery numbers, as well as the date of their earnings, which is slated for November the 5th. But as per usual, they do open up potential questions from retail to management. So this time around, it is going to be October the 22nd. So I'm doing this type of video a little bit earlier than what I normally do. In the past, I've always done it like 1 week before when they open it up, just so it's fresh. But this time around, I really want to hit it home on how important this truly is. And I think generally, aside from, I think it was the Q1 2025 earnings, that one was positive. That actually was like very good questions. Aside from that, ever since they opened these, I don't know, it's been crap. And that's nice, a very nice way to put it. Like half the questions that are being asked, we generally know that they will not be able to answer. For instance, even looking at the last earnings, how many current gravities are there? They won't answer that at all. And every single time we always ask about the same things, profitability. And I get it, 100% agree that profitability is important to any stock, even Lucid. But like these opportunities for retail to ask questions is more short-term oriented, right? Profitability most likely is not going to occur until like 2028. Analysts feel 2030, but you guys get the time frame. Like it'll be later in the next couple of years, not this quarter. We don't need to ask that this time around. And so essentially there is kind of three main things that I feel are good questions. Of course, there's a lot of good opportunities to kind of think outside the box and really ask questions, such as marketing. So one thing as well that I feel like Lucid really amped us up for is this mega like marketing event and everything else. To be honest, yeah, the Gravity launch was pretty good in New York. The first part of Timothy's marketing was pretty good as well, that video. But aside from that, I'm rather disappointed. Even on social media, on Lucid's like Twitter page, it does not look appealing. Like if a potential investor or shareholder was looking at that, I never feel the need to buy more because of what Lucid's kind of putting out. And even with the whole Uber partnership, we see more coming from 𝗫𝗓 talking about Lucid than what Lucid's even bringing up, if you guys get what I'm saying. So I think Lucid on the marketing aspect does really need to step up their game, but I do feel like there's three main things that I want to really hear about. And you guys already know. ESS. I've really wanted to know about that ever since they kind of like really put it on the back burner back in 2023. There's a huge amount of opportunity and I guess missed revenue as well from that. Tesla's making like hand over fist for that. So I think in general, there's a lot of good opportunity. And I think in general as well at the same time, the reason why they put it on the back burner is because Saudi Arabia, their infrastructure wasn't really willing and able to handle ESS. But since then, like Saudi has really just ramped up and thrown millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for their infrastructure. So logically speaking, Lucid could pick up ESS. But I don't feel like we could ask that type of question. We could just say, hey, in let's say early part of 2026 or even in Q4, is there any potential new alternative revenue sources that investors can kind of expect? So that's kind of a nice spin to it. So that would encumber partnerships, because I know a lot of people always want to ask about partnerships. So if you're asking about new revenue coming in, that could be ESS, that could be partnerships, or that could be airplanes. I know Peter kind of mentioned that vaguely in the past. So that is something that I think investors could really grasp onto, as well as institutions, because Mark seems to be very much, and what he's mentioned in the past, he wants to focus on getting institutions' attention. Well, institutions care about forward revenue. And so if you give us good explanation on some new revenue sources, that's going to bring over institutions. One thing as well, I feel like it's kind of a waste of a question, only because we haven't had any clarification on it, but the 7,500 tax credit. So that did conclude at the end of September. Tesla clearly gave out a lot of warning signs when they did put out their Q3 numbers on how kind of impactful that credit will be for Q4, and especially it'll really hurt their bottom line. So Lucid's already mentioned in a previous interview that they're going to extend that up until the end of the year. So I want more clarification on that. Does that mean that is going to be on everything? Does that mean it's just going to be on leasing? Where are you going to be getting this money from? Are you just going to be eating that 7,500? Are you taking away other incentives and putting this one in place? What are you doing? Like, you can't just say that, oh, we're going to be extending it up until the end of the year in an interview and add no clarification. Like, this is, I don't know. I love the product. Lucid's like A+, but man, their management is very difficult to like, for sure. Like, I don't know how someone can just outright say 75, like we're extending it up until the end of the year, but not say anything. Not a single member of anyone say anything about that. That's just mind blowing to me. So as much as it would pain me to actually waste a potential question, I think that does need to be asked. And then last but not least, again, there might be some other things, but I personally think that Lucid needs to be ahead of the game. So initially, for those of you that have been in Lucid for a while, and obviously I've been around covering it for a very long time, initially they never put out their quarterly numbers. So we just had to wait up until anxiously for their actual release of their earnings to find out their production and delivery. It was very nerve-wracking, in all honesty, coming from an investor standpoint. Luckily enough, they did piggyback off of Rivian and Tesla starting to do that. So Lucid's open to doing new things. And to be fully honest, Lucid only does that because other EVs kind of set the benchmark. So this is where I feel like if someone is better at wording it, can pose this question, because I cover quite a few EVs on a lot of my different YouTube channels. One is NIO. Some of you might like it, some of you might not. But one thing that Chinese EVs do is that they put out monthly numbers. Every single month now, we have Lucid speaking up, saying, hey, you know what, motor intelligence, those numbers are not accurate. Don't pay attention to them. Like, why are they saying that? Just give us the damn numbers then. Like, it makes no sense. Like, if you're saying, hey, this agency that gives us and reports on everyone's sales in the States is incorrect, well, how about you just think outside the box and now you just disclose it first of every month? No different than Chinese EVs. NIO, Xpeng, Li all put out their monthly numbers first of every month. So ask if Lucid wants to step up their transparency and start doing monthly reporting on, doesn't have to be just production, it could just be deliveries, or if they want, they can be production and delivery numbers, whatever they floats their boat. But I think coming from an investor standpoint, it would really help and settle a lot of just like people on edge. And you never know, if things are actually starting to ramp up, that could be also a natural deterrent against shorts. So those are kind of the three questions that I personally would love to ask. So about the kind of other revenue sources, 7,500 tax credit, and just potentially open to thinking about new things. Yeah, so I think in general, there's a lot of hot topics. So affordable vehicles. So I know a lot of people want to always talk about potentially the midsize. I think we've beaten that to death. Like, we've asked every single time about that, every variation. They're not going to be moving that up whatsoever. Potentially, we could ask some questions about Uber, but I think based on their last earnings, they already said that they're going to be starting to fulfill those orders in the second half near the end of the year for 2026. So I don't see any updates from now until pretty much Q2, most likely. So there's no point in wasting a question on that. Competition, I guess we could ask some sort of question for that, but I think generally we now just need Lucid to ramp up. So I don't know if we can just do a virtual slap in the face to Mark and say, hey, you know what? This is what we need. Just, who cares? Scrap all these questions. Just ramp up. Do what needs to be done to ramp up. Hit the target. of between 18 to 20, and then everyone will be happy. So I don't know, that's just my viewpoint. Just let me know your general thoughts on that, and if there is any other potential questions that you would like to see asked, definitely put it in the comments below. That way we can kind of ideally compile some good questions, because the reason why I'm doing these types of videos is because whatever is asked within the first 24 hours of this opening always does get asked at the date of their earnings. So very important that we get out good questions early on. So let me know your thoughts on potentially those kind of hot 3 that I think are good. Is there any other things that you feel could be a good potential questions? Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.